Hello, class 7. This is chapter Mahatma Gandhi School Days 2. Actually, taken from Mahatma Gandhi's The Story of My Experiments with Truth. The story of my experiments with truth. Now, chapter 28 Mahatma Gandhi School Days 2. My studies were continued. Look at the book, all of my students, page 105. My studies were continued at the high school. I always enjoyed the affection of my teachers. Mahatma Gandhi, from the primary level to the high school, he promoted, and he always enjoyed the affection of his teachers. That is, the teachers loved him very much. Certificates of progress and character used to be sent to the parents every year. He got the certificates of progress and character. The parents of Mahatma Gandhi were naturally very happy looking at the progress and character certificate of their son. I never had a bad certificate. He never got a bad certificate. In fact, I even won prizes after I passed out of the second standard. After passing the second standard, he also got the prizes. He won prizes. In the fifth and the sixth standards, I obtained scholarships of rupees 4 and 10 respectively. In the fifth and the sixth standards, he obtained scholarships of rupees 4 and 10 respectively. An achievement for which I have to thank good luck more than my merit. He wanted to give thanks to his good luck rather than to give good thanks to his merit. For the scholarships were not open to all. Because the scholarships were not open to all, it was reserved for the best boys amongst those coming from the Surat division of Kathiawar. The boys coming from the Surat division of Kathiawar, among those boys who were the best boys, they got the prize. And in those days, there could not have been many boys from Surat in a class of 40 or 50. In the total strength of the students of the class were 40 to 50. Among those students, there were not much boys coming from the Surat division of Kathiawar. That was the particular place, name of the place. Now, my second paragraph, page 105. My own recollection is that I had not any high regard for my ability. So Mahatma Gandhi did not consider himself that he was a student of high ability. I used to be astonished whenever I won prizes and scholarships. He was very much surprised, astonishment, surprise, whenever he won prizes and scholarship. But I very jealously guarded my character. But he was very possessive regarding his character. The least little blemish drew tears for my eyes. If anyone say any bad word or anything which hurt him, he drew tears from his eyes. When I merited or seemed to the teacher to merit a rebuke, it was unbearable for me. Any teacher, if any scold used to scold him, he could not bear it. I did not so much mind the punishment as the fact that it was considered my deserts. That is, he thought that he must have done any mistake. That's why he got the punishment. It was a violation of his duty. That's why he got the punishment. I did not so much mind the punishment as the fact that it was considered that it was his desert. That is, he had done some mistake, violation of some duty. I wept piteously. he used to weep very much. Anyone should, get pity for that. That was when I was in the first or second standard. There was another such incident during the time when I was in the seventh standard. Once happened he was in the first or second standard. Another time it happened when he was in seventh standard. Dorabji Edulji Gimi was the headmaster. Name of the headmaster, Dorabji Edulji Gimi. He had made gymnastic and cricket compulsory. When that person, Dorabji Edulji Gimi, was the headmaster, he had made gymnastic and cricket compulsory in the school curriculum. But Mahatma Gandhi, as a school student, at that time, though he was a high school student, but he disliked both. I never took part in any exercise, cricket or football. He never took part in any exercise, cricket or football before they were made compulsory. Before they were made compulsory in the school curricula, he did never take part in this type of the sports. My shyness was one of the reasons for this aloofness. Because why he was so aloof? Because he was very shy. Which I now see was wrong, but now he thought that it was not a right thing he had done, because these physical exercises, cricket, football, give us a very good relaxation and physical fitness. So as he disliked it, it was not good thing he had done. I then had the false notion that gymnastic had nothing to do with education. At that time he had a false idea that gymnastic had no relation with education. Today I know that physical training should have as much place in the curricula as mental training. Today Mahatma Gandhi, he knew that nowadays physical education is a part of our school education. Now next para 105, last part. I may mention, however, that it was none the worse for abstaining from exercise. Now Mahatma Gandhi realized that to abstain from exercise, it is very bad, very bad. It was indeed very bad habit. That was because I had read books about the benefits of long walks in the open air. But he used to do one good thing, that is, he came to know from the book that long walk in fresh air was very good for our health. So having liked the advice, I had formed the habit of taking walks, which has still remained with me. These walks gave me a fairly hardy constitution. So he used to form the habit of long walk in fresh air, and this helped him to form a hardy body. Hardy constitution means hardy body. That helped him to develop a fit body fitness. The reason of my dislike for gymnastic was my keen desire to serve as nurse to my father. Another reason for his disliking for this gymnastic was that Mahatma Gandhi used to serve his father as a nurse. As soon as the school closed, I would hurry home. He very hurriedly returned home and began serving him, and started to serve his father. Compulsory exercises came directly in the way of this service. Now, this is a compulsory exercise, because after the school very hurriedly he returned to his home and started to serve his father. I requested Mr. Gimme to exempt me from gymnastics so that I might be free to serve my father. Mahatma Gandhi requested that headmaster Mr. Gimme to make him free from gymnastics so that he could serve his father. But he would not listen to me. But the headmaster did not listen to Mahatma Gandhi. Now it so happened that one Saturday, when we had school in the morning, I had to go from home to the school for gymnastic at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So one Saturday it happened that Mahatma Gandhi had to go to school for gymnastic at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But as I had no watch and the clouds deceived me. Now, he had no watch, but the clouds, looking outside, he just had made an idea regarding the time, but he was cheated by the cloudy day. Before I reached the school, the boys had all left. When he reached school, all the boys left the school. The next day, Mr. Gimme, examining the roll, found me marked absent. The very next day, when the headmaster examined the roll, he found that Mahatma Gandhi was not present. So, being asked the reason for my absence, I told him what had happened. When Mr. Gimme, the headmaster, asked Mahatma Gandhi his reasons of absence, he said that what had happened. He refused to believe me and ordered me to pay a fine of 1 or 2 annas. But the headmaster refused to believe the reason given by Mahatma Gandhi, and he ordered Mahatma Gandhi to give a fine of 1 or 2 annas. Now, next paragraph, page 106. I was convicted of lying. Mahatma Gandhi could not tolerate it because he was so truthful. Never told. He hated of telling any lie, and he was convicted. He was charged of telling lying. That deeply pained me. He was very much pained. He felt very sorry by the charge given to him by the headmaster. Now was I to prove my innocence? How was I to prove my innocence? Mahatma Gandhi was determined to show his innocence to the headmaster. There was no way. I cried in deep anguish. He was so sad. He started to cry. I saw that a man of truth must also be a man of care. This was the first and last instance of my carelessness in my school. He realized that he was a boy of truthful. He was so always he told truth, but he must be careful. That was his fault. He was careless and did not attend the school in proper time. And that was his first and last proof of instance of carelessness in school. I have a faint recollection that I finally succeeded in getting the fine remitted. But finally, he was successful not to for remitting the fine. That is, he had not he had not given the fine to the headmaster. He was exempted of giving the fine. Now, the exemption from exercise was of course obtained, as my father wrote himself to the headmaster saying that he wanted me at home after school. So the exemption, Mahatma Gandhi got the exemption from exercise, as his father himself wrote a letter to the headmaster saying that he wanted his son at home after school. Now, next para, 106, the last paragraph. But though I was none the worse for having neglected exercises, I am still paying the penalty of another neglect. Mahatma Gandhi realized that when he grew up, he realized that he did not do this properly. It was not his good idea, proper idea of neglecting the exercise. But I am still paying the penalty of another neglect. But he had still paying the penalty of another neglect. What was that? I do not know whence I got the notion that good handwriting was not a necessary part of education. Mahatma Gandhi had a belief that good handwriting had no relation with education. But I retained it until I went to England. Now, his idea that good handwriting had no relation with education, he had this notion until he went to England. When later, especially in South Africa, when he arrived in South Africa, he saw beautiful handwriting of lawyers and young men born and educated in South Africa. He saw many young men and many young lawyers who were born and brought up in South Africa had a very nice handwriting. Now, I was ashamed of myself and repented of my neglect. He was ashamed of himself and repented of my neglect. He repented of his neglect, of his negligence of practicing good handwriting. I saw that bad handwriting should be regarded as a sign of an imperfect education. He realized the truth that imperfect education is very much related with bad handwriting. A person who did not possess, who had not developed the good handwriting, he could not prove himself as a man possessing good education. A highly educated or a properly educated person should possess good handwriting. Is it clear to you, my student? So, from today, all of you should practice good handwriting, okay? Now, I tried later to improve mine, but it was too late. So, later on, he tried to improve his handwriting. But, my students, you understand that at that time he became a lawyer. He was quite grown up, so it was already too late to improve his handwriting. So it is my request to you to start your good handwriting from today, okay? Now, I could never repair the neglect of my youth. He could never repair, he could not overcome the fault, the mistake which he had done in his youth. Let every young man and woman be warned of my example and understand that good handwriting is a necessary part of education. So, every young man and woman should take an example from the life of Mahatma Gandhi and should practice good handwriting and should consider that good handwriting is a necessary part of education. Okay, thank you very much, all of my students. This is all the chapter, that is Mahatma Gandhi School Days 2. It is apart from the story of my experiments with the truth, and next day I will tell you the question answer and few word meanings. Okay, today up till this, wish you all the best. See you in my next class. Okay.